Alright everyone, welcome. I'm bringing you another video, this time featuring my absolute pride and joy, the Yi Sun Sin. This ship is massive. As you can see, it's just towering over the outpost here. And if we go ahead and take a look at the surface map, yeah, it's pretty big. So, yeah, that's the ship hovering over my base there. Let's go ahead and check it out though. It's got quite an imposing silhouette in my opinion. What I kind of thought was funny about this ship that I actually kind of like, since it's actually so long, the landing bay is actually hanging off the edge, so it's just kind of floating. I thought that was kind of cool. Kind of reminded me of the frigates from Halo, how they kind of just like gently float above the surface. I thought that was pretty neat. But so I'm gonna go ahead and give a tour of this ship here. However, there's kind of a lot of ship. We'll be able to see a little bit more of it in the actual flights. That way we can see how much there is. I'm not too sure if I'm gonna keep building up into like the main body and just use the amount that I'm currently using, but we'll see. For now, let's go ahead and take a look at the Nova Corps capital ship.
That we are here.
So the very bottom of the ship does have clipping. This is pretty much the only place that has clipping, and that's due to the nature of the placement for the landing bay. I wanted it at the tip of the spine, that HopeTech spine that I'm using, but unfortunately it does go through. There's no way around it, so this is the only section that will have clipping, but you can't even really tell. In my opinion, it just kind of just looks like braces or something like that. It's not really that big of a deal, but it is there. Anyway, you come in through the engineering bay. The landing bay is right here. There is a the docker right here. But you would just head this way. Let's go up the Matilda stairs. Now, just for a little bit of fun, there are some habs on these floors, but these are just completely useless habs. For example, this hab will have a engineering bay on floors 2 and 4. Go ahead and take this elevator up really quick. Second floor, there's just a little computer hab. I thought it looked kind of cool. Just like, just having some random miscellaneous habs on some of these floors I kind of thought would make it feel a little cool. There's something on this floor, and on this floor there is another computer hab and then another engineering bay back here just for the looks of it. Just kind of make it feel a little bit more crowded because it is a huge ship. And then over here on the 5th floor is when we're actually getting into the actual body of the ship itself. Climbing up these ladders. Now, I originally wanted Matilda's stairs here, but is clipping because of the large habs. So that's why that's being used. But over to the front is going to be the ship, the cabin. It's going to be heading straight over there. Above us is access to the living space. All the living space is going to be above because this is a 2-story or a 2-floor deck. With this ship for quite a while, not gonna lie. But yeah, so there's the 2nd floor. That one leads to the living quarters, but I'll go ahead and show that in a bit. Back here is where I would figure most of the meat of the ship is going to be. So coming over here, there is a cargo hall. There is an engineering bay here just to kind of give it more, that that grounded feeling, you know, having all these types of technical habs. Heading over here, there is a computer hab, the 2x2 from Deimos. I really like these, again, because they kind of feel like the heart of the ship. Kind of felt like it would make sense on the bottom floor where all the main technical stuff was. And then over here, we do have access to a workshop, just in case. There's another workshop over on in the living quarters area, so you won't really need this. But I kind of just put it there just because it kind of made sense for being next to a cargo hall. And, you know, maybe they're fixing stuff back there. Over on the left side, we have an engineering bay. Again, just kind of feel like the heart of the ship. We have another opposing you know, the heart feeling, the heart of the ship. Heading over this way, there is another cargo hall. That's all that's back here, just more storage for the ship. So let's go ahead and get to the living area. Now the living area is what I'm most excited for. There's some really cool habs that I want to share with y'all. I will try to find the name of the actual mod, and I'll probably just end up putting it in the description of the video. But anyway, coming up here, again, this is where the main pilot's going to sit along with some of their co-pilots, I'm assuming. And you'll be able to just kind of see out. I really thought this view looked sick. You're just underneath the ship, so you get to see all of that. There is a weapon station right there. You can see them kind of hanging out. Those poke out, and then there's like missiles coming out of those. It looks pretty sick. But I thought that was a pretty cool looking view from here. But heading this way, I'm actually kind of glad that I took the time to fix all the habs, because now there's no clipping. The clipping was driving me a little crazy. But you head in through here, and then there's two ways. This way just leads to a little storage room just to kind of put stuff in. And over here is where we start to head towards the living quarters. Now, coming over here, we have access to something I thought would have been kind of cool. There is a bar that we put just above the cabin, and you get a pretty nice view while you're up here. I thought this was pretty sick. I greatly enjoyed this. So, yeah. Have a beer while you're up here. Have a good time. Heading this way, though, we're actually going to get into the main living area. So this is the Matilda's, if I'm not mistaken. It should be the Matilda's workroom. The 3x3, no, the 2x2? Yeah, it's like two 2x2 stacked on top of each other, I believe. Oh no, 3x3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So this is a 3x3x2. Because it's a 3x3 hab, like that's too high, as you can see. It's going to be a lot of pieces that I'm going to shove in here. I think it's going to be pretty neat. Got a little workstation in here again. Like I said, there's no real need for the other one. It's there if I need it. There's just a little security room. This huge open space just to kind of put stuff in. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do in here, to be completely honest. Heading over here is going to be the infirmary. To keep the crew nice and healthy. There's an infirmary right here, and then another infirmary that is a little bit nicer. I kind of figured this would be for like the ICU, you know, people to be taken care of where they need a little bit more extensive help, and the on-board doctor could just end up sitting over here. Thought it would have been pretty cool. And just more space for some of the crew there. Honestly, there probably could be a lot more, but, you know, it's not like it's going to be like heavily full. Over here on the bottom floor, we have access to a mess hall for everyone to kind of get together and eat. That's all that's really going on over here. Heading over in this direction, we have access to a battle stations. Kind of figure having like a little HQ type thing would be kind of good to have somewhat near the living quarters, just so they can kind of keep an eye on, you know, maybe their flight patterns and stuff like that. Heading over in this direction, we just have another workshop next to an armory. To go ahead, kind of figure it would be pretty smart to keep it somewhat near the living quarters, but not entirely near it. Now let's go ahead and take a look at some of these halves. Again, I'm gonna find the name, but whoever made these habs, I absolutely love you. These habs are so freaking cool. But this one is a cargo haul. It's been completely customized. They are already full of stuff, and as you can see, it just looks so lived in. I personally love ships that look like this, just completely jam-packed full of detail. I know not everyone's really into it, but I think that this looks like super cool. It feels very lived in. So I do greatly enjoy these. But that's just a little cargo haul back there. Thought it looked kind of cool. Maybe they're just kind of shoving stuff back there. Over here's a control station that also doubles as a bedroom. Really nice clean area. And then over here you have access to a little sleeping arrangement. Just, you know, maybe there's just someone that needs to get some stuff done. They can go ahead and, you know, come back here, rest a little bit. Now here's the main sleeping quarters. Now this is the thing that I love the most. So there's this hab. It is a computer core that is turned into basically a living space. I thought this is probably the coolest hab that I've seen in terms of mods, and no joke, it's probably gonna be like in every one of my ships. I love this one. But over here we have a little sleeping arrangement, you know, a little office, pretty nice. Heading over in this direction is more the living area. We have a little kitchen going on right here. Look at this beautiful kitchen. Wow. It looks so good. Oh my god. I love it. Got a little corner here to watch some TV. Super cool. Probably one of the best habs so far, next to some of the ones that are coming up. There's some really good habs that are due to be released soon. And then just a little storage for the food. You know, kind of just throw it back there. Heading over here though, we have access to more room. This is another customizable floor plan. Very cool stuff. A lot of space. I figured that this would be very useful for an expeditionary type ship, because just look how much space you have here. Over here you have a kitchen, which is pretty nice. It does have a functioning galley. Little bathroom. We've got one bedroom in here. Go ahead and put your stuff in there. A nice, somewhat like master bedroom almost to kind of put everything in. Double bed. Over here we do have what I'm assuming to be like a kid's room or something. I don't know. But it does have a bunk bed there. Maybe that's just you know, some of the crew's kids' photos or something. And then over here, just another sleeping area. I've got another bathroom right there, and just a random miscellaneous room. You can just shove something in there. Not too sure what. Heading over here is the captain's quarters. Your own personal place to stay on your long trips. Very, very nice. Very well lived in. I absolutely love the decor. I'm not gonna lie. Absolutely wonderful hab. But that is... yeah, that's actually the entire ship. So there isn't anything else in the ship. There's quite a bit of ship, to be completely honest, and to fill it up with habs would just start to get a little redundant. And quite frankly, if I can keep the part count kind of low, I think I would prefer that over just filling up the bulk of all that up there with just random habs like cargo halls and engineering bays and all that stuff. It would just get like a little redundant, and I'm not too sure if it would look good in the end. But that's the ship. Probably my absolute favorite ship right now. I think I absolutely killed it with this one. This one's gonna be my go-to ship for a while. But I mean, just look at this thing. I can't even like get it in screen. It's just so massive. There are some edits that I also made to the overall ship. For example, right there, I changed those poles there. I added some piping there. I lowered the reactor. Originally I thought it looked kind of cool, but just the grab drive sticking out looks fine. The reactor did look a little funky, kind of poking out the way it was, so I shoved that a little bit further in. But let's go ahead and take off really quick. This massive beast of a ship.
All thrusters firing.
Yeah. And there you can see the weapon systems opening, and there are okay, that looked a bit ridiculous. We just tilted up. That's the big issue with like M-class ships. They look a little silly taking off, and on top of that, clipping through everything. That's not Very fun if that's what you're going to be. If you're going to be landing on any major settlements, you're not going to be able to park it normally. But then again, this is a capital ship. This ship's not really meant to land. This ship was meant to purely stay in space. Um, let's hope that the game actually loads, because I'm not too sure if it will. Give it a second. And if not, then I'll just have to like reload and then just like pick a location to fly to, because maybe it just doesn't like going out into space from the ground, but it doesn't seem to play nice.
Everything looks so pretty up
Oh,
there.
okay, it's working. Nice. Thank God. And yeah, here is this massive ship. Let me get some better lighting on this thing. Oh, that's what was going on. Let me go ahead and max out everything really quick. Okay, so take a look at this ship. This thing is freaking massive. There's no way that I would be filling all that up with habs, to be completely honest. It's quite a bit. And honestly, a lot of the top is kind of like merged into one another, so filling all that up would just kind of be more of a hassle than anything else. So I'm probably not going to end up filling up the top part. The bottom part still goes up to basically where you see like those fuel tanks on the side, is about as much of the living space that's actually there. Again, I could just kind of go further up and probably build up into that and like try to make it work, but I don't know. It just feels like it'll just be too redundant, and then I'd be using too many parts. This ship already takes up like an absurd amount of parts, so yeah, that's it from the front. It off to the side. The silhouette, I think, is just absolutely like stunning. Little engine assembly. Let me go ahead and turn this into orbital. Yeah, look at this ship. Wow. I'm quite proud of this ship. If I ever do get a computer that's able to handle mods, let alone the creation kit, then yeah, I'd be more than happy to release this thing. But yeah, this ship was quite of a bit of a pain. When I first built it, for some reason I didn't check the load order, and I actually found out that the M-class mod that I have was actually in the wrong spot. So it ended up overwriting the M-class parts for C-class parts instead. It like swapped like the reactor class. So right when I was about to save this ship, I lost it all because you need the game needs to have an M-class reactor in order to save this M-class ship, because the structural parts, believe it or not, are actually considered M-class. So kind of like how you need, like let's say for example, you have a C-class grav drive. You would need a C-class reactor in order to save the ship, because that is an incompatible part. And since the game was registering the reactor as a C-class, it was not able to let me save it. So it treats the structural parts as if they are M-class requirements. So you do need to have like the proper reactor, and I didn't have it. It was just busted, but I fixed it. It's now functional, so now we have access to the ship. There is turrets all through the top and bottom of the ship. They are non-functional. They don't do anything. They're just there to look cool, give the ship a little bit more of an imposing presence, because I swapped out the guns for these right here. Those are not exterminator beams. They are dark star weapons that shoot EM. The reason why I picked EM is because I remembered that when you hijack another ship and you are already flying one, so you go out there, let's say you go to Serpentis and you start flying around, and then the Varun start attacking you. If you steal one of their ships, take over it, and then make it your home ship, your ship that you were flying before will stay around in the system for like a little bit before jumping away. And so it'll just kind of fly around and idle for a bit. And I remember that, so I ended up stealing a Varun ship, and I ended up flying around while this thing was floating about doing its business. Because otherwise, these missiles right here would just absolutely obliterate pretty much anyone. It like one-shots pretty much anyone. And then the anti-capital ship weapon that I have at the very fronts. It's hidden inside of all the pieces, but it's should be here, right there. It's this gun right here. This thing shoots about like 1,000 something damage, almost 2,000 damage per shot. And yeah, this thing deals like crazy damage. So kind of figure it'll just come out here through the front. You know, pretty neat. But yeah, it only has two weapons: the missiles and that single fire anti-capital ship railgun. They pretty much destroy everything, so I didn't want to blow up the Varan ships just so I can take over it. But yeah, that's the tour of the ship. I will continue decorating it, and I'll probably just like keep posting updates on the ship itself, just to show it evolve, over the course of time. Now that I'm seeing this, could probably do the same thing on the bottom, just to sate my OCD. Okay, but yeah, that's the ship. Just so you can kind of get a closer look at what's going on over here. Those are new. I added a little bit more greebling off to the side. Wasn't really much going on there, but that's there. Got the Siren of the Stars ballroom. It's actually not functional. It doesn't look like anything on the inside, but if you just hide stuff in there, it'll look a little bit better. That unfortunately is just I'm thinking about maybe putting pipes there to kind of cover up it a little bit, just because it looks a little off. But those halves have to stick out because they are the very large Deimos halves, and they end up taking up most of the space. I needed it so that way it can actually properly fit in all of the halves here. There's still an extra floor that I could have made use of, but quite frankly, I don't know what I would even put up here, and it just feels like it'll just be more redundant pieces, like maybe more living space or something else like that. So that's the only reason why I didn't really bother to fill up here, because again, the ship's already taking up quite an amount of pieces that if I just keep adding more habs and stuff like that, it's just gonna potentially crash the game. And if you can keep your pieces low, that's always better. Try not to overdo your ships, just so you don't end up losing it to like a save file corruption. And yeah, anyway, that was the ship. Thank you for